Hello again and welcome to science, and in particular welcome to physics. Now what I'm going to tell you now, Druk Green Power Corporation will not be very happy, because I'm going to tell you how to save money on your electricity bills. I'm going to tell you now how to save hundreds and possibly thousands of nultrums a month on your electricity bills. Now the first way is so simple, it's common sense. You know, if you're going to make a cup of coffee with an electric kettle or an electric heater, all you need to heat is 1 cupful of coffee. On here, if the water comes up there, it's 4 at the moment. There are 8 cups of coffee in there. And so if you only want to make 1 cup of coffee, don't fill the kettle full, just put 1 cup of water in. Otherwise, you are wasting electricity and wasting money. So, 1 cup of coffee, heat up 1 cup of water, and you will save hundreds of nultrums a month on your electricity bill. Now, I want to tell you a way of saving even more money on your electricity bill. Because don't you think it is very, very strange? In wintertime, Bhutan has to buy electricity from India. Why? Because the water flow in the rivers reduces, and so not enough electricity is generated by the hydropower stations to satisfy Bhutan's internal demand. So why is there less water in the rivers? Answer: because in winter there is less rain. Why is there less rain? Because in the winter there are no clouds in the sky. Because there are no clouds in the sky, we've got lots of sun. So we have this ironic situation that at the very time when the sun's energy input onto the ground of Bhutan is at its very greatest, we're actually having to buy electricity from India. Why don't we use the sun's energy falling on the ground in winter instead of buying electricity from India? And you know as well as I do that if I move in winter from the shade into the sun, and I'm risking my life here because there's the road, but you know perfectly well that if I move into the sun, I can feel the heat of the sun. When do we get most sun in Bhutan? We get most sun in winter. So let's help Druk Green Power Corporation so that it doesn't have to buy so much power from India in the winter, because it's in the winter that we get blue skies and lots of sun. Now, 25 years ago, there was a little project just down the road here, and we're going to have a little look at it, aimed at saving energy by using the sun's energy. So from Druk Green Power, let's walk just down the road here and see what remains of a big experiment. So we've walked down the road now to have a look at this house, which is here behind me. And this is a very special house. It was built 26 years ago, and 3 of these houses, totally identical, were built. 1 there, which is still there, 1 here, and 1 here. So there were 3 of these houses. And why were they built? They were built as a demonstration of how a Bhutanese house could use solar energy for keeping warm. So 25 years ago, this was an experiment to see how solar energy could be used to save electricity in Bhutan. Let's go down and have a look at this house. This is now, I believe, an office of the Royal Civil Service Commission. It's the only one remaining from 25 years ago. There was, in fact, another identical house built at Wongdi Phodrang, just near where the Royal High Court is at Wongdi Phodrang. That, too, has been knocked down. So this is the last remaining relic of energy efficiency as a project in Bhutan. Let's go and have a look. So let's go and look at this remaining energy-saving house. So here we are, the energy-saving house of 25 years ago. And you can see immediately one way of using solar energy. You have the plastic sheeting covering the wall of the house. And the idea is that the sun's energy goes in through the plastic, heats up the wall of the house, and you get a little insulating layer of air between the plastic and the wall of the house, so the wall gets hot and it puts heat inside the house. So a very simple way of using solar energy to keep a house warm. There was one problem. You may say, what's happened to the other two houses? Well, one problem was that the plastic trapped moisture in the air gap, and the moisture caused the wood, which made up the wall, the moisture caused the wood to rot. So there was an example of rather poor design. The use of solar energy was fine, except you didn't want all the wood in your walls rotting. And so the other two houses have been knocked down, and also the one in Wangdi has been knocked down. But the basic principle is a very good idea. And now this is an office of the Royal Civil Service Commission. And we'll just quickly look inside. Along with the plastic covering of the walls, they also installed a sort of double glazing idea. And 25 years ago, this was a really new thought to have double glazing. Now, I think the double glazing has gone, and their roof insulation is there as well, which we can't see. But just for old time's sake, I'm sure some of you watching the program may remember these houses being built. Just for old time's sake, let's have a look inside. So let's have a look inside this old house. So here we are, and this is now an office of the exam department of the Royal Civil Service Commission. So may we visit you in your office for 1 second? No problem. Hello, can we disturb you 1 second?
No problem. My name is Jigme Narbu, working for the Royal Civil Service Commission.
Right, Royal Civil Service Commission, good. So how do you find this office in this very old and slightly historic building? Because this was the first demonstration house for an energy-saving building. How do you find your office?
It's much warmer than other offices.
Yes. Warmer? Yeah. Good.
And I think it's because of the double glazing we have here in the...
Ah, right. So this was one of the things they put in to use solar energy to heat up the room, was to have double glazing, and that reduces the heat loss to the coal as well. And I'm glad you find it warmer. And as I say, this is quite a historic old house. I remember it being built, and there were two others which have now been knocked down. So congratulations.
Hello.
Hello, sorry to disturb you. I'm delighted to see on your office desk a physics class 12 exam paper there. So tell me, what are you working
Yes.
with?
My name is Toju Anchu. I'm working in RCAC Examination Services.
Right, oh, very good. So you're working in the examination services with your office here in the first environmentally friendly building built in Bhutan 26 years ago. And how do you find your office?
Yeah, this office is very lonely and environmentally friendly, and we can welcome our graduates with peace and happily.
Right, very good. And do you find it warm?
Yeah, comparing to other office, this office seems to be very warm, peaceful.
And your colleague next door, he's got double glazing. Have you got
Yeah, my office also
You've
has
got double
two.
glazing here.
Yes, yes.
So double glazing is a great way of annoying Druk Green Power Corporation by saving money on your electricity bills. And of course, if you save money on your electricity bills in RCSC,
Yeah,
this means that Bhutan has to import less electricity from India in the wintertime. So you're saving the nation rupees. Thank you very much
Thank you.
indeed.
Thank you for visiting.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.
So we've moved forward in time 25 years. It's now 2015. The house we just looked at was built 25 years ago. The UN house, the new UN house that I'm standing in now, was just completed a year or so ago. So let's see what sort of energy efficiency we get here in UN house. And hello, I'm sorry to disturb you. Can I say hello?
Hi.
And how do you find working in this new house? Is it warm?
It is quite warm compared to some
Right,
of the other
good.
offices here.
And tell me, do you have double glazing there?
Yeah, it's so the windows are double glazed. It actually helps a lot.
Right,
Keep the
very
house
good,
warm.
very good. One other small point here, apart from having double glazing built into the windows, there's also a neat and very simple way of reducing heat loss from your house in winter, and that's by having a sheet of plastic, just ordinary thin plastic, sellotaped over the window. And this stops drafts. So it stops heat loss from the house. The sun can get through the window and the plastic to warm up your house inside, and this reduces heat loss. Very simple, just a sheet of plastic sellotaped over the window. Let's go now and say hello to the resident coordinator, Madam Christina Carlson, and let's see what the UN house does in the way of energy efficiency. Well, here we are. Christina Carlson, the UN resident coordinator, thank you for sparing time to see us. And the purpose of the visit, Madam Carlson, is to just have a little look at how the new UN house, completed just a year ago, demonstrates physics in energy efficiency. And I'm told that you actually have a solar heating system in part of the building here. And I'm wanting on this program in particular to concentrate on the use of solar heating here in Bhutan. So do tell me, what do you have?
Well, thank you, Michael, and welcome to UN House. We just installed last year a fantastic new solar hot water heating system, which uses solar panels on the roof and a boiler to transmit hot water through radiators in our main areas in
Right.
the ground floor.
So this gives you space heating.
Absolutely.
Right.
So the radiators are in the largest rooms of the UN house, those that are most difficult to heat from the traditional space heaters. So the reception area, the conference room, the main hallways, and they've made such a difference in those spaces.
Right.
They are now warm enough for people to sit there throughout the winter. And we
Right.
no longer have to wear coats to our
Yes.
public meetings in the conference room.
And you so often in offices here, in government offices and other offices, you see somebody sitting with a tiny little electric bar heater trying to warm their legs. And so now you in effect
Exactly.
have got central heating here,
Exactly, yes.
right? Which is very unusual in Bhutan, and all powered by the sun.
Yes.
So if we think about how much you're saving on your electricity bills in the middle of winter, it's probably quite a lot of money.
Yes, we save about 120,000 Nultrum a year
Right.
with the new
Oh.
system.
So that's 1.2 lakhs a year simply by getting free energy from the sun to give heating to your building.
Exactly.
Now, what a difference that would make to many of the places where we go, where the inside of the building is freezing, and yet in winter, if we go and stand outside, we are warmed by the sun. So solar heating for Bhutan is as yet a relatively untapped source. But you've got it here. Can we go and have a look?
Absolutely, I'd love to show you.
Will you show
Come
us?
on,
Thank
let's
you.
go outside.
Thank you, Christine. So,
This is one of the solar-powered radiators
Right.
that help to heat these public areas. So as you can see, it's quite a big empty hallway.
Yes.
Where a lot of people walk through. And in the wintertime, this used to be so cold that the cold air would bleed into the offices, and we'd have
Right.
everyone who had a front desk function would freeze.
Yes. And so these radiators are kept warm by solar energy.
Absolutely.
And in a minute, we'll go outside and see how the solar energy is harvested.
Yes.
Yes.
But first, I'd like to show you this building design.
Can I just get near you here?
Okay, so first I'd like to show you this building design innovation that we have. The building is constructed around this solar heat well. It's an open courtyard in the middle of the building that is positioned to catch the rays of the sun in the summer months. Even in January, it's warm enough out there to actually sit and eat lunch in the courtyard.
Right.
And it helps to keep all of the offices around this area warmer in the
Wonderful.
winter than they would
Yes.
ordinarily be.
Excellent. I was pointing out when we were standing outside Druk Green Power Corporation how the coldest time of the year in Bhutan is winter. In winter, there are no clouds, so there's no rain, so electricity from hydropower is at a minimum, so Bhutan has to actually import electricity from India. And yet, because there are no clouds, it's the very time when the solar energy input into Bhutan is at its highest.
Yes.
There is something very ironic that when the energy input to Bhutan is at its highest, Bhutan is buying power from India. And use of solar power like this could help a great deal to minimize the electricity that we have to buy from India in winter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can we go and see the...
Let's go step outside.
Yeah,
and
lovely.
take a look.
So, Christina, we're enjoying the winter sun here in your, what do you call it, solar...
We call it a solar heat well.
A solar heat well, and it really is very pleasantly warm. And I can see why it's a heat well, because the sun shines on the walls, and the walls radiate heat down to us here. So we're not only getting heat from the sun directly, we're getting heat from the energy radiated and reflected by the walls. So it's midwinter, and it's really warm here. We could, in fact, have a little swimming pool and do a bit of sunbathing, or a nice little restaurant.
Exactly. Maybe not warm enough for sunbathing, but definitely warm enough for a
Good.
restaurant.
Now, can we go and see where the solar energy collector for your heating system in the building is?
Yes, let's go.
Good. So now, Christine, we're going to see the boiler.
Yes.
Right.
The most important part, this captures the hot water and
Right.
redistributes it through a system of pipes to
Right.
the radiators.
So it's not really a boiler, it's a storage
Exactly,
tank.
a storage
Right.
tank, yes.
Right.
So here it is, the hot water tank.
So, Christina, here's the hot water tank.
Yes.
And it's nice to see you've got a big label there saying hot water tank. And here's a circulation pump. And you notice as well that all the pipes are covered in foam with a silver covering outside. And that is to reduce the heat loss into the air from the hot water pipes. Again, a very simple way of saving money on your electricity heating bill and reducing the amount of electricity we have to import from India in the wintertime. Also reduces the profits of Druk Green Power Corporation, I'm afraid. Can we just look around the back here?
Absolutely. You'll see that each pipe has two arrows. The hot water on the pipe with the red arrow is going in. This
Right.
is taking the hot water
Right.
in. And then once the water circulates through the radiators, the cold water, where the white arrow is,
Yes.
comes
Comes
out
back down.
and goes back into the solar panels to
Right.
be reheated again.
Right. So it's very simple circulation. The hot water going into the building, the cold water from the building coming back down, back into the solar water heaters on the roof that we'll look at in a moment. So, just to see how effective the sun is at heating up the water, I'm going to touch this exposed metal pipe just here. No point touching here, it's all insulated. But if I hold there, I can feel that the water in that pipe is too hot for me to touch. And it's all heated just by the sun's energy. So the hot water comes from the solar water heater in the roof into this tank. It's stored, it's pumped through into the building, heats up the building. The cold water that emerges comes down and back up to the solar water heater again. So it's a simple circulating system. You may need, in a big system like this, a small electric pump to pump the water through, but that uses a minute amount of electricity compared with what you would use from heating the water. And I think you were mentioning to me approximately how much energy is saved with solar water heating.
We've actually seen an 85% reduction in our power consumption in the winter months
There we are.
from the solar heating
Folk,
system.
how would you like to have an 85% reduction in your electricity bills every month? Because the majority of the electricity that you use at home, especially if you don't have Bakaris or kerosene heaters, the majority of the electricity you use is used for heating water and heating your rooms in the winter. So an 85% reduction in your electricity bill, if that could be mirrored all over the country, think how many rupees and nultrums that would save the Kingdom of Bhutan. Let's go and see the bit
Solar
where the
panels?
sun comes in, shall we?
Okay, let's go.
The installation there which collects the heat energy from the sun and warms up the hot water. So you've got panels, solar panels, but they're not solar panels for making electricity, as most in Bhutan are. They're solar panels for collecting the heat energy from the sun, and they have got a tube with water running backwards and forwards like that, and the sun heats up the water. And a very important principle you will know from school, that if you want to absorb heat energy, infrared radiation, you should have dull, matte, black color. Black absorbs radiation, white reflects it. So inside those panels where the water pipes run, it is all painted matte black to absorb the solar energy from the sun to heat up the hot water. Remember, silver reflects, white reflects radiation, black absorbs it. Now, you can see a lot of silver all along the side there, but that is simply the insulation around the hot water pipes. So look inside the installation, you can see the pipes running, and you can see that inside it's painted matte black. Now, here we are in the UN building, completed, just a year ago?
About 16 months.
16 months ago. So we've gone from a house 25 years old, which was not very effective, through to a building built by the UN. First of all, I should add, incidentally, it is earthquake-proof, but a building built by the UN to use solar energy with a result of an 85% reduction in the kilowatt hours of electricity that you consume. Big saving. And now let me show you some photographs of one of the oldest buildings in Bhutan, which is not here in Thimphu, but in Bumthang Valley, in Jakor Valley, Tamshing Monastery, one of the oldest buildings in Bhutan, which has also got a solar hot water heating system to provide hot water for the monks to wash and bathe. So solar energy for heating is beginning to appear in Bhutan, and I understand that the UN and UNICEF have a little project. Let me get you to talk into my little microphone.
Yes, the UNICEF's Water and Sanitation Program has been supporting solar hot water heating systems in monastic schools as a way to improve hygiene in those schools.
Right, absolutely excellent. So you see, solar heating is coming into Bhutan, but I believe it's coming a bit too slowly. And in a moment, I shall try to explain to you that solar water heating, installing it, is child's play. Because I happened to come across a toy in a toy shop down in Thimphu a few days ago, and in a minute I'll find a young child to demonstrate to you how simple the principle of solar hot water heating is. Thank you, Christina, for letting us visit UN House. I know you need to rush off now, but thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you, Michael. It's been very interesting to welcome you here.
Bye. Bye. I'm here at Thimphu Primary School with a model solar water heater that I happened to see in a toy shop in Thimphu the other day. And we're going to get one or two people here from class 6 in Thimphu Primary School to make us this little solar water heater. And remember, the point is, physics is child's play. Physics is simple. Now, let's see how well you can do. Move here, and if you move here, what's your name? Garab? Dia. Right, there's the instructions. There's the picture. Here are the bits you need. And this can go on to there, and then perhaps this might fit on there, but if not, just hold it, and off you go. Make us a solar water heater. When the two kids make this solar water heater, we can see two very, very important basic principles of physics. First of all, if you want to absorb energy from the sun, if you want to take it in, you want something black. Your little overcoats are black, and that's jolly good in the sun, in the winter time. If you stand in the sun, your black coats absorb the energy. So they have got a little black base which absorbs the sun's energy because it's black. Remember, black absorbs, white or silver reflects. So a black base. And then they've got a tube with water going like that. And I think we're nearly there. Can we hold it up? And if we can hold it up like that, can you hold the bottom? One of you hold the top, one of you hold the bottom. Right? Here we've got a solar water heater, exactly the same as what you saw in UN House, exactly the same as what you saw in Tamshin Monastery, except that it's a bit simpler, but the basic principles. The black base absorbs the sun's energy because black is a good absorber. Water circulates and gets warmed up by the sun's energy. Now, what do we know? Hot water rises, cold water falls. I'll say it again. Hot water rises, cold water falls. So when the sun's energy heats up the water in this tube, the hot water rises and comes up to the top here, and the cold water comes down the tube into the bottom of the solar heater, gets heated up, comes up to the top, out, up again, round and round and round, hold that please, So making a solar water heater is actually child's play. The only trouble is your system leaks. There's an awful lot of water dripping onto the floor there. So you have to be careful it doesn't leak. Solar water heating is really very, very simple. And you can make an installation at home. You simply make a wooden frame about 2 meters square, about that deep with a wood rim around. You take some black plastic hose pipe and you wind it like that inside this box. And you put some plastic on top and you paint inside the box all black. Why black?
Because black absorbs energy.
Because black absorbs the heat energy. And there you are, you've got a solar water heater, and you can put it in your garden at home, feed the hot water into your house. You could use it to warm the house, or you could use it for washing dishes, washing yourself. Or, if it's not hot enough, you want a really hot shower, you can take the hot water from the solar water heater, feed it into the bottom of your electric heating tank, and you're feeding warm water in there. So you do not use as much electricity to heat up the water. So you can save money at home with a simple solar water heater. I want a volunteer whose mummy or daddy is not going to grumble if you get wet. Okay, now, everybody keep still and just watch this. I said science is easy and simple and physics is fun. Well, this person here may well end up getting a big shower bath. So we're going to, what's your name? Kesang Enton. Well, with luck, she won't. But I'm going to try and use a bit of physics to give her a little horrid shock. I've got a jar of water here. You can try this at home, by the way, on your dog or something like that. We fill it right to the very, very top. Hold that, somebody. Give me the piece of card. And we put the piece of card on the top like that. Woof. Now, this is the real test. Abracadabra. Shall I take my left hand away? Who wants me to take my left hand away? Everybody. Oh, Kesang, they're not your friends, are they? I wonder what's going to happen. Now, what kept the water in the jar? And the answer is, you learn about it in your science lessons. The answer is, what kept the water in the jar? Atmospheric pressure. Thank you, Kesang, for being very brave, and you didn't get wet after all, even though all of your friends were hoping you would. Science is simple.
Science is simple.
And the last of all, physics is fun.
Physics